Takadosh Boker Or, Bekiim Halacha 6, day 13, page 35. We are doing the klalim of Safek Berakhot Lehakel Halacha Zayin. And it says as follows: Af bimkom sherov poskim oru levarech, umiut poskim oru shelo levarech, anu choshim lemiut, v'omrim Safek Berakhot Lehakel. Even if the majority of the poskim are going to say that you make a bracha, but there's a minority that says that you do not make a bracha, we say Safek Berakhot Lehakel. אמנם במקום שדעת פוסק יחיד שלא לברך או חשיל נגד הרבים, but if it's only a yachid, we don't say ספק ברכות להקל because of that yachid, meaning it's going to be that you have the majority are going to come, right, and they're going to say to make a bracha, and minority no, but if it's just a one opinion saying no, we don't take that into account. Okay, so that was the first halacha. What about if the Maran and the majority of the poskim say to say the bracha? So there's a number of achronim that say that we always follow the ruling of Maran, even if you're going to say, some people say no, right? Now, this is a very, very famous machloket. For example, Maran says if your talit falls off, or your tefillah, right, or you go to the washroom, you have to make a bracha also on the talit. There they say Safek Berakhot Lehakel keneged Maran, because a lot of poskim hold that you don't need to. However, though, right, if we have minhag, you remember that was the last year that we had, if you have minhag, the minhag always takes precedence. So since our minhag, the Moroccan minhag, was like Maran, so therefore we do make a bracha. Even if you would come out of the washroom, you would make a new bracha on the talit as well. Or if the talit fell off completely, right? A person just, walking around, whoops, and the talit falls, he would have to make a new bracha, because that is a shitat Maran, but it's also, our minhag is like Maran. So once the minhag is like Maran, that's it. You would make the bracha, even though there is going to be people that argue. So there you have whether it's going to be the Mishnah Bra, whether it's going to be Al-Kut Yosef, others, but we would still make the bracha. Okay? Next halacha, chet, במקום שיש רוב במציאות, Lo amrinan safek berakhot lehakel. When you have a doubt whether you need to make a bracha, but the chances lean to likely that he must say it, the principle of safek berakhot lehakel does not apply. So here he says this is the ruling of the Rishon LeZion regarding the mitzvah of tevilat kelim. When you have to do tevilat kelim, which means you're going to immerse a new utensil into a mikveh after buying it from a non-Jew, if someone purchases a kitchen utensil from a Jewish-owned store, it may be that this mitzvah is unnecessary, depending on the identity, right, of the manufacturer. The company manufacturing the utensils may be Jewish-owned as well. And if so, the utensils were never totally in the possession of non-Jews. When it's difficult to determine the facts, one must immerse the utensils, but may one recite the berakha or not? So since there's a doubt whether the mitzvah is necessary, the principles of Berakhot Lehakel should apply, right? It makes sense. Ata kanita mashu ba'aretz, right? Or you buy from a Jewish company. Now you don't know who made it. Maybe the manufacturer, maybe everyone was Jewish. If everything's Jewish, you don't need to do tevilat kelim. But if it was done by a goy, you would have to do tevilat kelim. Now you don't know. So he says, so you would have to obviously do the tevilat kelim, but maybe you would say Safek Berakhot Lehakel. You don't make a bracha. The Rishon LeZion brought a proof from the Tshuvot Maimoniyot. They was talking about when Rav Nachman witnessed a man who fell into the sea and disappeared. Right? He then went to the Beit Din, and he swore that the man had been consumed by sharks and that his wife is not now a widow, and therefore she could remarry. Rav Meir, right, the Maram to explain that although Rav Nachman did not actually witness the sharks attacking him, he's still valid because usually people that are stuck in the sea like that are going to be eaten by sharks. So this is the proof that we may assume that whatever is more likely to take place is what actually did take place, and one may rely on that to swear that it actually happened without fear that he's swearing falsely. If so, then one may rely upon the fact that it likely happened as well. Okay, so he says when there's a debate amongst the poskim about the requirement to say beracha, the majority cannot be relied upon since the poskim are not convenient to take a vote like the Sanhedrin. Okay, fine. And then it speaks about the sfek sveka, obviously. So halacha tet. אף במקום שהאריזל סבר לברך, אנו חושבים לפוסקים שהורו שלא לברך, ואמרים על ספק ברכות להקל. I know Bialkut you said. That means even if the Arizal HaKadosh came and he said that you should make a bracha, we still say Safek Berakhot Lehakel, and we don't make a bracha. And he says, look in Yilchot Pesach. There, I guess we're going to see what exactly we're referring to. Okay? במקום שיש ספק לעניין קיום מצווה מדרבנן, what about you've got a doubt to do with a mitzvah דרבנן? For example, eruv tavshilin. So he comes and he says, in such a case where you have a doubt to do with eruv tavshilin, so he says what's going to happen is that רשאי אף לברך על מצווה זו, שכיוון שאנו מכריעים ספק דרבנן לכולם, מכשירים המצווה, הברכה נגררת אחר המצווה, ושפיר מברכים על המצווה. So therefore what's going to happen is that you are going to come, right? That means you're allowed to make a bracha on the mitzvah, because since we say safek derabanan lekula mashrim et mitzvah, so therefore the bracha goes after the mitzvah. So therefore you're allowed to make a bracha on the mitzvah. Okay, so here he says that, for example, right, it has to be done before. So eruv tavshilin has to be done before Yom Tov. Remember, eruv tavshilin is what we do in order to, with the egg and the bread or whatever it is, or the matzah, depends when it is, in order to cook from Yom Tov to Shabbat, right? To prepare from Yom Tov to Shabbat. So now this has to be done before Yom Tov, and it cannot be eaten before Shabbat. Remember that, very important, right? It has to stay intact until Shabbat. Then usually they use it for whether it's lechem mishneh or whether it's going to be for whatever it is. So if someone failed to perform the mitzvah until Ben Hashmashot, now what happens? Ben Hashmashot, maybe it's already Yom Tov. And if it's Yom Tov, you're not supposed to do it anymore. So he could still say the berakha over the mitzvah, although the time of the period of Ben Hashmashot might be nighttime when it's too late. We may assume that the mitzvah is still valid again because of Safek Berakhot Lehakel. This is because the need of tavshilin is only going to be in the Rabbanan, and therefore once halacha states that the mitzvah is valid, so now you're allowed to do the berakha, right? And disregard the fact that there's a doubt to do it or not, because once you're allowed to do the eruv tavshilin, so now you're allowed to do the berakha as well, because the berakha is attached to the mitzvah. Okay, the last halacha. What about mayim shesafek nasam b'hem melacha? We know that when you want to do netilat yadayim, you're not allowed to do netilat yadayim with water, which was done a melacha to them. But if we've got a doubt, now you have a doubt: was there done a melacha or not done a melacha? So now in such a case, safek d'Rabbanan kula. So again, you're allowed to make the bracha al netilat yadayim, and look later on in Siman Kuf Samech halacha kav gimel. Okay, so this was day 13.